Okay, take a deep breath in. And on the outward breath, that's it, relax your eyelids. And as you breathe in, just imagine that you're breathing in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow feelings of any stress or tension to leave your body in your outward breath, enabling you to go deeper and deeper relaxed just by breathing in and breathing out. I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine a bright, vibrant color. A color that represents resourcefulness. Maybe a bright yellow, a bright white, bright orange. And as you imagine breathing in, imagine that vibrant, bright color going in through your nose, into your lungs, giving you a sense of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, get a sense that what's leaving your body are feelings of tension, feelings of stress, worries, frustrations, so much so that in your outward breath, you can see a darker color leaving your body. A bright, vibrant color going in through your nose, a darker color leaving. And I want you to consider this a form of emotional transfusion. Good, resourceful things are going in, and anything not necessary is leaving your body. As your body relaxes, your imagination becomes more active. And I want you to use the power of your imagination to think of a golf course, but not any golf course. I want you to think of a golf course, perhaps nestled under the careful gaze of beautiful mountains. And I want you to imagine what it would be like to be there on that golf course, just on your own, no one else around. Imagine breathing in that fresh, clean air. Feel the temperature on your skin. Seeing blue skies, perhaps with the occasional white fluffy cloud. And I want you to get a sense of how effortlessly you're breathing, of how calm you feel, how relaxed it is just to be there in that place. As you breathe in, take a deeper breath than you would normally breathe in. Still breathing in that vibrant color of resourceful relaxation, and then exhaling whatever's left of that tension or stress or worries. I want you to start thinking about the nature of a winnable game. There you are on that golf course. But I want you to imagine that if when you were learning golf, what it took for you to feel good about playing golf meant that you had to win. Perhaps against players that have been playing for decades. That would be not just an unfair criteria, but an unuseful criteria. I want you to think back to those early days of playing golf. How good it felt to make the tiniest of progress. That first time that you did an excellent drive from the tee. Or perhaps that first long putt on the green that just felt so satisfying when it went into that hole. I want you to think of those early successes, and perhaps now you might do the same thing and think nothing of it, but when you first started, the strong positive emotions that you felt when you were making that progress linked to joy and positivity, growth and fulfillment, your brain giving you that dose of dopamine to reward those good feelings. And I want you to think about all those years playing golf, and every now and then you win. So you have a belief system that if you play a good game, winning is possible. But I want you to think of another area of your life, perhaps the area of weight loss. And perhaps you've been playing a different game with different rules, so much so that you could be doing the right things and feel that you're never winning, that whatever you do is never enough, that it feels like you're trapped on that hamster wheel, doing the right things but not seeing the right results, feeling that whatever you do just isn't enough. Perhaps you've even had ideas about who you are. Maybe you've thought to yourself, I'm fat. Maybe you've looked in the mirror and the mirror showed you a version of you that you didn't like to see. And maybe you've been comparing yourself to people of a different age, different genetics, different background that you don't even know if they're real. It could be photoshopped images of different body parts at different times of different lives. And I want you to get the sense that if you were playing golf the way that you've been trying to lose weight, that wouldn't be an enjoyable game to play. And I wonder what might happen if you played a game against yourself. I want you to imagine that there is a clone of you about to play 18 holes of golf. There is a version of you that believes that you are fat. There's a version of you that believes that you're not good enough, and that unless you're doing everything you possibly could, you're losing the game of weight loss. Imagine that's the first player. And then imagine the second player looks exactly like you, but they're operating from a different viewpoint. That second player doesn't believe they are fat, they believe that they are winning. That second player doesn't focus on what isn't right. They're focused on the progress that they're making. I want you to get a sense that these two players are no longer on a golf course. They're in your home, where you live, how you live your life. And these 18 holes of golf are now living over the next year. And let's look at the first version of you that believes they're fat, believes they're not good enough, believes that every day they're making no progress. And I want you to see them. See them day after day, looking frustrated, avoiding seeing themselves in the mirror. I want you to see that they're getting very little joy. You might see them enjoying themselves when they're exercising or walking in nature, maybe eating delicious, nutritious foods, but you're observing a version of you that feels frustrated every day, constantly feeling you're not doing enough. You're seeing a version of you trapped on that hamster wheel, that no matter how much effort they put in, how much they struggle, how much they fight, they're never quite getting the results that they want. And then I want you to imagine seeing this version of you not doing it for the next year, but doing it for the next 20 years. 20 years of struggle, 20 years of frustration, 20 years of feeling that they can't win this game. But then let's investigate this alternative version of you. A version of you that has a different belief system. A belief system that they are good enough. But just because they're good enough doesn't mean they don't think they can evolve and grow and make progress. The belief system of this version of you believes that they are winning and that every day they can win and make progress, because for them, progress is winning. Perhaps they believe that either they make progress or they figure out a new lesson, a new area of wisdom, a new distinction that means they can make even more progress the next day. Perhaps this person believes that either you win or you learn. And I want you to imagine you're just watching this version of you over the next few weeks. They're measuring their life, their weight loss, body fat percentage, activity levels. But you can see from that facial expression they're celebrating every tiny bit of progress. Every bit of progress feels like it's a win, feels like it's success. And because of that, they've got more and more evidence every day that they are winning, that they are good enough. Because the progress doesn't prove that they're not good enough. The progress proves that they're moving in the right direction, that they're good enough as they are, but they can get even better. And imagine watching this version of you over the next few months and seeing that because the game is enjoyable, because the focus is on the incremental progress, they're getting more of that. Where focus goes, energy flows. In the first version of you, the focus was on everything that wasn't right. So the energy was frustration and struggle. But in this second version of you, the focus is on the ideas that facilitate progress. The tiniest of progress creates a feeling of joy and growth and momentum. So their energy is of flow, is of momentum, is of growth, satisfaction, pride and confidence. In this version of you, they're able to look in the mirror and notice those incremental parts of progress. Maybe it's you're smiling more in the mirror, and that's a win. Maybe it's that you feel confident just looking at yourself in the mirror, and that's progress, so that's a win. I want you to observe a version of you that is winning every single day, or learning every day, and perhaps both. And I want you to see that this game, because it's winnable every day, means it's winnable every week, every month, every year. And then I want you to follow the life of this person for 20 years. 20 years of noticing progress, of improvements, of gratitude and accomplishments, and that they're only comparing themselves with themselves. I want you to see this version of you full of acceptance. They're not comparing themselves to someone 30 years younger. They're comparing themselves to who they were yesterday. That's the competition, which means every day has the potential for winning. And then imagine you're going forward 20 years, and I want you to look at these two versions of you side by side. The version of you 20 years from now that believed that they were fat, not good enough, losing every day. And then I want you to see, right next to them is a version of you that felt that they were winning every day, took pride in their appearance, felt that they were getting better and better as they age. And as you see them standing side by side, you'll get a sense of the contrast. And if there's a version of you that seems more appealing, it helps you enjoy the journey and the destination, just let me know by nodding your head. And then I want you to step into that version of you, feeling what it feels like to have believed these things and felt this way for 20 years. And then imagine rewinding all the way back to the present, but knowing that your future is a future of improvements and progress, pride and satisfaction, gratitude and growth. And I want you to think of what you can do immediately to have a win. One thing you can do in the next few minutes or hours that would represent progress. Because when the ball starts rolling, it continues rolling in the same direction. The most important part of creating momentum is turning inertia into movement. And I want you to think of a roundabout. The kind of roundabout that you might find in a child's playground. When the roundabout is stationary, it requires effort to move the roundabout. But when the roundabout starts spinning, it requires less and less effort to keep the roundabout spinning. I want you to get a sense that you have an insatiable desire to get your roundabout spinning. And that's not about the effort you put in, it's about noticing the improvements, the progress, and the good emotions linked to making fantastic choices. I want you to take all those ideas, still feeling connected with that version of you where the game is winnable, a game that you want to play. Find yourself back there on that golf course, feeling that a change has taken place. You're not fat. You're simply at a body weight that facilitates and rewards progress. Body fat is simply stored energy. You are unlocking a desire to turn that stored energy into wonderful experiences. By enjoying the experiences and the journey, you have a desire to be more and more active because it's fun to do so, helping you to notice more and more progress and improvement whenever you choose to look. Now it's time to leave this golf course, but take these feelings of gratitude and optimism, new belief systems with you, as you find yourself back now in the present listening to my voice. And very soon I will count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, get a sense that all parts back in the present listening to my voice now as I count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.